Don't worry, I'll probably make it again. She hates it, so that's my new sound.
What does it
Because I
sound
just go
again? Just
and she flips the fuck out.
Oh my god, why?
I don't know, maybe because I sound like a fucking demon?
Well, doesn't really. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Exactly. I mean, I named her after a demon.
That's also true.
Hi, baby. She's my little demon now. My little baby. Oh my gosh, I can put your harness on you. Come here. And then you'll stop moving. Or you always slow down.
Anyways, Jake, how's things? So, are we judging the hoe now?
I think that's the whole point of this episode today.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. We
Welcome
could be
to the
drinking
roast.
of the hoe. We could be drinking. Actually, I am drinking. Ginge is obviously also drinking. The hoe maybe is drinking. She probably should. I am drinking something called an Angry Lemonade. It has a lemonade vodka, raspberry lemonade available at Costco, and some seltzer.
Cheap plug.
And some
At Costco,
other-
sponsor us.
Costco has some really, really good raspberry lemonade.
Do they really?
Highly recommend it.
I
you got-
am such a slut for like flavored lemonades too. So
Yeah,
I'm
like
all
they
for it.
over the summer they had this blackberry lemonade, and I swear I bought like close to like 4 gallons of it.
no way.
I probably consumed a whole gallon in a weekend.
Did you ever
because
spike it or did you just drink it straight?
It's good straight.
Really?
It was good for the like they were sampling it at Costco, so of course you gotta try it.
Yeah.
It was good straight. It's good with vodka. It's good with a lemonade vodka. It's good when you also cut it with seltzer. So, highly recommend it.
Nice, nice.
Gingerwald, what are you drinking?
I am drinking what I'm calling a apple cider, but painful. It is cider mixed with Jack Daniel's Tennessee cider, which is which is like a combination of Jack Daniel's and apple cider liqueur. And it's like equal parts each one, so hence, apple cider but painful. It's very good. You really can't taste any of the alcohol at all.
I will say though that I do. That's like one of the few things I miss about the Fireball days that we had in college was just
Angry
mixing
balls?
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
mixing that with apple cider. Like,
Do you remember at Patty's, they would have a pitcher for $20? It was 4 pints and 4 shots.
Mm-hmm.
I
The 4
Oh, so-
pints, 4 shots was
So
fantastic.
speaking of Halloween coming up, look at her. She's cosplaying as a stuffed animal.
Oh my god!
she was totally limp cat for a second.
Yeah,
I was like, you killed the cat while you were off.
she
You know,
legitimately
in the
looked
background,
dead
you're-
right there.
So we're harness training. And
Okay.
it takes her a few minutes to get comfy in her harness. So I have the pleasure of just being able to like limp cat her around.
Excellent. Also, welcome, Ho. You missed
Thank
like the
you.
first 2 or 3 minutes of it because you were in
No,
the
I was
background.
listening.
Yeah, I know you were listening, but you were in the background of the video, just like playing with your cat, and then the two of us are just talking.
I was putting her harness on her so she wouldn't be an absolute spaz because it takes her a little bit of time to warm up. So hopefully it'll delay the insanity.
Excellent.
But I heard what y'all were drinking. I heard lemonade. I heard apple cider. And I am the third option. Do we want to take a guess?
You're drinking
Wine.
fucking wine.
Mm.
I got nothing.
Is it a seltzer?
No, it's gotta be something.
Worcestershire sauce.
I'm
Oh.
not drinking Worcestershire.
Okay, hang on. Before
Worcestershire.
Before you
Choir.
say what you're drinking, I just want to bring up a story that has happened in my past involving
About
soy sauce, not Worcestershire sauce,
Okay.
and Jake being a giant piece of shit.
Go
one,
on.
one time, me, him, and Colby were at your house, and we were doing shot roulette. And
At my house?
No, at Jake's house.
Oh, okay.
No, we were playing shot roulette.
Oh yeah.
And we basically were doing it so that like every other shot was a good one or a bad one. But then we ran out of bad ones, so then we all just started like mixing shit together, and I landed on a bad one. So Jake and Colby told me to close my eyes, and then they mixed soy sauce and Kahlua. And I took a shot of soy sauce mixed with Kahlua, and I almost puked.
You were like crying your eyeballs out. You were like gagging. It was horrendous, but it was one of the funnier pranks that Colby and I have pulled on you.
In hindsight, it's one of the funnier things you've ever done. Like, that's a fantastic prank. But in the moment, I wanted to rip your arms off.
The shit that we do to each other, though, when we are drunk is hysterical.
We're terrible. We're terrible.
Yeah.
I personally hate soy sauce, and I don't really like Kahlua. So that idea of that's just making me nauseous.
Yeah, it was
and I'm
not
just
good.
In other news, did we guess
what are you
I'm
drinking?
I am
don't
drinking a ruby grapefruit White Claw.
Oh, Jake was right with the seltzer.
I've been trying to drink less hard liquor
That's
because
fair.
I drink a lot of hard liquor.
It's the kick, whatever kick she's on.
Yeah.
Like 1 month she's on hard alcohol.
I was gonna say, let me
Other
guess, you
months
just bought
she's
a
drinking
giant
like
pack of-
straight soju. Another time,
Soju.
and then other time, I still have not had it.
See,
And then
okay,
other
the
Yeah,
thing
I will
is,
help.
the thing is, I have to back her up because soju is very good.
Especially I like alcohol if we haven't figured that out.
I'm gonna say
I really like alcohol.
we've proven that a time or two.
And I like tasty alcohol. Like I don't like alcohol just to get drunk most of the time unless I'm, sad.
You moved on from freshman year and sophomore year of college.
Not always. Not always.
Not always.
I know.
But so soju is delicious. One, it's like $6 a bottle. And two, there's so many flavors. And three, it doesn't taste like alcohol. But then, like, I can do a whole bottle of soju by myself, which is about the size of a beer bottle, but the alcohol potency of a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
So I can do one bottle of soju and be drunk, or, on the verge of tipsy and drunk. And then I do one more shot of soju, and I black out. It's the weirdest thing. It's like I'm tipsy drunk and I'm like, yeah, this is great. One more shot. No, I don't remember the rest of the night. And I'm like, what the fuck is this magic? Like, anyways, it's cheap. It's delicious. It gets the job done.
It tastes
also,
good. Yeah.
I can do shots without doing, shots. And there's my cat.
Oh, hi, Pie. Oh, she has the harness on.
She does have the harness on. I just let her roam around with it.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Now, is the plan by any chance are you going to take your cat out on walks?
So not walks, it's more for like driving. So when I drive to go home and see my parents, my other cat Hazel, who hates pie, does not like car rides, and it's an absolute atrocity trying to get her to my parents' house at any given
Is there
time.
is there any certain story you want to tell about
There's
Hazel in the
definitely
car?
a fun story.
So I was driving Hazel home, and we were on the highway, and we were driving next to a semi because I race like a race car, and I was trying to get past it. But anyways, there was a semi next to me, and it decided to lay on the horn, and all I heard was, "Meow." And she had a panic poop in her carrier, and I was then stuck in traffic for about 2.5 hours with cat shit in the carrier on a hot day, and I had to open the windows so I could fucking breathe.
Say, because it's not like you can do the AC.
No,
Because you're just
cat shit.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like I couldn't even. There wasn't even a rest station nearby. Like I could pull over and try to get her out.
Yeah.
And then like when I got back to my parents' house, she was covered in poop because she'd been sitting in a carrier for 2.5 hours with poop.
Not
and I was
really
just
much
like,
any way you can avoid that.
no. So I really try not to bring her home unless absolutely necessary. Paimon, I'm going to bring her everywhere. She comes everywhere with me.
Well, you said she actually likes being in the car, right?
She is so cute. She likes to. So I was kind of stupid. Let me put that out there.
Okay, you can just stop right there. We already knew that.
I was stupid. I got Pie in one state, and I had to drive back to my home state, and it's about a 2-hour drive. So I got her in one state and was like, okay, I miss her. Let me open the carrier. She can't climb out of the little adoption cardboard box. Bitch can. I'm on a highway. This bitch crawls out of the fucking box around my car, and I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I got this 9-week-old kitten driving around my car. I'm like going 45 miles an hour on the highway, which is like half my normal speed.
Gonna say.
Okay. Sorry. I was going half the normal speed, and then all of a sudden I was like, Paimon! She crawls into my lap and then immediately passes out, and I'm like, this is very different than what I'm used to. I'm used to screaming and meowing for hours. And then this one's just like, hey, nap time!
It's nap time. I don't care that we're going fast. It's that lap looks good. Nap time!
Excuse me for 1 second. I gotta go beat my kitten.
Oh, okay. That's
It's a euphemism for wanking.
Oh, no! This podcast brought to you by the fact that the hoe was horny and just had to rub one out real fast.
I just whacked it out in the last 10 seconds.
Okay, you said beat your kitten. How else are we supposed to take
eating
that?
her sister's food. The kibble is bigger than her throat. I have to, like, she's stupid. She's not even stupid or broken. She just makes terrible decisions.
So do you.
Like her mother. We make this joke every time I say it.
Because you say it every time.
She just makes terrible decisions. Like,
Other kitty, hi.
Hi, Hazel.
Oh, I was like, who are you talking to?
We're talking to Hazel, who's behind you right now.
Hi, baby. Hazel's definitely gotten a lot more exercise the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I can see that.
Paimon likes to chase her around, so. And Hazel
I'm
doesn't
surprised.
like her.
I'm surprised Hazel lets her chase her around because I feel like she would just kick her ass if she.
So it's starting to happen.
Okay.
I sit there and I go, beat her, Hazel, beat her, beat her, because like this is Hazel's home first, and Paimon's a little shit.
Yeah, that's not even. Your apartment is not even Hazel's. It's not even your apartment. That's Hazel's domain. Yeah.
I am simply the housemaid.
You're allowed to live there.
I am Dobby, and Hazel is
Master.
Master has given Dobby a sock.
So, like, I just gotta live here. This is Hazel's house. Paimon needs to learn this is Hazel's house, so I keep encouraging Hazel to beat the shit out of Paimon, and she's starting to. But also, Hazel's like, stay the fuck away from me, and runs away to the other side of the apartment, which of course causes Paimon to sprint.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. It's slowly getting better.
Fine.
Yeah.
It's
Hazel's
fine.
starting to be abusive, so, you know, everything's starting to fall into place.
Good.
You like to bury your trauma through abuse, so.
I do.
Or your abusive trauma.
Speaking of which, here comes the little devil.
Where is she?
She just ran that way. You can't see her. She's just off camera. All right, guys, what is our topic today?
So from what I know, because I basically just tasked you both with topics, and I know that Jake has said he has a story that he wants to tell us, and has wanted to for a few days. But we made him save it for the podcast.
So I do remember that Jake and I were plotting something when we would get you alone. I don't remember what we were plotting, and I'm hoping Jake does because.
Well, no, I think this is different.
It depends. Oh, it depends on. I guess
How much I want to share.
how much you want to share. Yeah.
We're having this episode.
It's episode what? 7, 8, 9, 12? I don't know what episode this is.
But let me start off with the story of.
Do you want Colby to get in on this? Because I can force him to come in here.
I don't want to force him if he doesn't want to be on. However, having him part of this story would make it 10 times funnier just for the...
In that case, I'll pause it right now and force him to come on just to recap this part of the story.
Okay.
Oh my god, when did you get here?
Oh my god, it's like magic!
He just appeared!
In my spare time, I like to ooze from
Uh.
bedsheets to bedsheet.
Oh, do you have to?
It is simply a talent that I have always possessed.
Okay, Ursula, calm down. Jake has a story that he needs your input on.
This is a recent story.
Yes, this happened 2 days ago at the time of this recording.
Excellent.
So Colby myself, and a friend, we're all playing some Overwatch together because that's what we do when none of you boobs like to play with us. And all of a sudden, we got on the topic of because I like this special. There's a fancy underwear I like to wear. It has ball hammocks in it. Your balls sit in in this hammock, and it keeps you from getting the bat wings, which is really good because then you're not doing that weird stretch, like the crab walk.
Time out. What are bat wings?
When your sack sticks to your legs because it gets so sweaty down there.
Oh, that's not a visual I ever want in my brain again.
So I'm gonna let you in on one little guy thing. When you see a guy doing a weird crab walk or stretching weirdly,
I already figured that
there's
much.
definitely some ball sticking.
Listen, as long as y'all don't judge me for fixing my fucking thong, I'm not gonna judge you for fixing your fucking dick or balls or below the belt junk. I don't give a shit what you do. Just don't judge me. I don't know what to call it. I don't like male anatomy.
Anyway.
Unless it benefits me. Anyways, continue.
Anyway, so the friend he starts off with just like, okay, yeah, some simple just baby powder down there, and that keeps away the stickiness.
Wait, are you referring to your dick as your friend?
No, the friend that was in the chat with us.
Got it, okay.
Yes, me, Colby, and my penis.
Yeah. So our gaming friend tells us to put baby powder down on our little friend down there just to keep away the chafing and keep things from sticking.
Now, for a little context, he's slightly younger than us, and we've known him long enough that I see him just as like eternally a teenager.
Yep.
Like,
he's always a kid.
Yeah. So when he started telling us this, I just assumed that he had in his youth discovered the worst way to do anything with his anything, and then just stuck with it.
And he has perfected this madness or science or whatever technique this is.
So it's science. That's
while working at a Boy Scout camp every summer for the past years.
Unspecified amount of time.
Unspecified amount of time. So no, Scoutmaster Kevin does not know about this. Anyway, he has
Never mind, we're not going to make that joke.
We're not. But we can talk about it later. But anyway, he then proceeds to say that
blasé tone known to man.
He's like, I perfected this by icing my balls before applying the baby powder.
Doesn't that hurt?
Yeah.
One would think.
One would think. So he says, yes, keep it on your balls for between 10 to 12 seconds.
And then upped it to 15, but then he washed around.
He had to wash it around just to understand like the science of how much moisture and how much wetness needs to be on the balls and how cold the balls can get. And before, if you don't let it dry off, you put the baby powder on, it turns into a paste.
Yeah.
You can't have a paste. So there has to be some time for it to like breathe out and dry off.
And his argument was that you should apply the ice to the balls and then wait. So it should be like apply, go away, come back, baby powder.
Yep.
Okay, question. I'm assuming you'd have to wait for your... I hate this conversation, but I'm assuming you'd have to wait for your balls to dry off, air dry style, so you'd have to like walk around with numb balls.
One would assume.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he had to make sure that it's just your balls getting iced, because you know how shrinkage works. That if it gets too cold down there, everything just kind of up, and you always have to look as long as humanly possible in case there's any chance of you getting any hope of anyone looking down there. So you can't just look like you're walking around with a shriveled up Tic Tac.
At Boy Scout camp.
Exactly, especially a Boy Scout
Hey, you
camp.
never know when the opportunity may arise.
And I quote, and he said, well, you know, usually by the first few days, everyone figures out who's hooking up with anyone, and then they pretty much stick with it for the summer. So, you know, after those first couple of days, it doesn't really matter. But,
So, this kid...
and again, we're going to go back to kid, because in my head, he's early 20s now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. In my head, I'm talking to, like, a 16-year-old. Like, they have developed a method that they're convinced works, and it's the worst thing I've ever heard. Like, I cannot imagine a more criminal activity than sticking ice on your balls because...
Sticking balls on your
balls
ice.
on your ice! And we discussed in length the problem.
Like, this conversation of him saying of how icing your balls was an important step to, you know, cool off and prevent, you know, bat wings from happening. This went on for at least an hour and a half before the worst part of the story happened.
Oh no. It gets... So, before we get to the worst part and ruin my night, was he just, like, holding a handful of ice cubes and just, like...
Yes.
Okay, I
The
I
other
was like...
problem is, again, assuming that we're talking to, like, an infant, like a moron, I had it in my head that the only proper way to talk to him was as if he was stupid as fuck. And so we had to break down every minute detail.
Every single detail, like how long, what's the proper method, like do you have to hold an ice cube to rub it around the ball?
My
Do you
brain
have to just like...
conjured this weird
Walk
image
away.
of either, like, a cup of ice that he just, like, duct taped around his torso to hold on to it, or like a slab of ice he just had laying around at Boy Scout camp that he would just kind of like... I'm assuming you can kind of like plop them. I don't have balls. I don't know how balls...
Yeah, like one would think. We were asking all of these questions too. Like we also had to make sure what is happening to the special member here, like that's not going in the ice.
Oh, and he had to
special
specify.
member.
He had to
like,
specify.
Pick it up and move
you
it
gotta
around.
pick it up, hold it around somewhere else, and
Now, the
Yes.
other problem that I had during this is that there is a distinct amount of people that use temperature when they play with sex. So, you can use ice, you can use heat. And the entire time he's talking about this, I'm thinking, you know, if you put ice on your nipples, you get hard nipples.
yep.
That can be arousing. If you put ice on your balls, you have a bad day.
But isn't there like... Okay, so opposite end of the spectrum, and I'm on a weird side of the internet as one be. I've seen ball hot tubs. Like, there's bubblers that just...
Yeah.
You sit your balls in it, and it, like, bubbles like it's a
I
jacuzzi.
can't believe somebody went and heated up Sprite like that.
Don't put Sprite on your balls. Wait, question.
No, we don't want to talk. We talked about the pickle thing too.
No, it's back to the soy sauce. It's back to the soy sauce.
Oh my god.
They say that if you put your balls in soy sauce, you can taste soy sauce.
Okay, again, I brought this up to him as well because and yes, I will admit I have tried this.
Did you taste soy sauce?
I did not work. I did not taste soy sauce. Was this around the time I also had COVID? Maybe. So was my taste a little fucked up? Maybe. However,
No.
I did once dunk my balls in soy sauce. Carrying on back to the story that we're a part of here, you know, we're on like hour 2 of this kid like really like nonchalantly talking about how he
And
puts
it was
ice on
so,
his balls.
He just
Like,
he was just like,
straight
"Yeah,
face
obviously this is
whatsoever."
the method that works.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to understand that you're wrong, but also you don't seem to understand that you're wrong.
So anyway, later one thing leads to another. Colby and I had a break in our video game, and we went down, got an ice cube.
So we had to try it.
We had to try it, and sure enough, we're rubbing ice on our balls. So we're just
Were you
sitting
guys,
there,
like,
barbecue sauce on our titties.
Were you guys
Barbecue sauce on our
chatting while this was happening, though?
Yeah, like we're still like in our
the
Discord
details that are
chat.
required. Like, it was a case of you take an ice cube wherever you get it from, you go to the bathroom, apply the ice, walk away, and then you can come back and do baby powder afterwards. So
My question is, were y'all on Discord while you were icing your nuts?
Oh no.
I was,
Okay.
but
Oh.
So Jake gets a free pass, but I can't whack off when I'm talking to my friends? I feel like that's a little
He was
hypocritical.
hardly whacking off.
I was performing a science experiment that I was
I can perform
deeply-
plenty of science experiments, thank
Again,
you.
but also you, whenever we're Discording together, you have your camera on, and
This is
I
true.
don't want to watch you.
I distinctly recall a pay-for-play episode where you guys talked about what things would cost.
Anyway, one thing
Oh,
to
she's-
another.
All right, I wonder what the hoe's doing. Oh, she's back. How was that wank?
Wow, that was
I did indeed make my kitten wet, which sounds
right there. Ginger's
terrible.
gonna cut it for like 45 minutes, and then we're gonna come back and be like, "So how was that wank, oh?" And it's just gonna be a black screen intermission. He's
I
gonna-
did go and soak my cat. I was spritzing. I was spritz. I have a water bottle. I have a kitten. She was doing something bad. She's doing it again.
Oh, we get it. You have a kitten and you wank when you're talking to your friends. What's there else to know?
All right. Well, when she gets back, we have the kicker because here we are, rubbing ice on our balls because we gotta see. So Colby
How
made
incorrect this child is.
Colby made it what 1 second
Got him.
Yeah, like
before it was too
maybe
cold.
A second and a half. Like it was definitely a kid. For anybody that's listening to this that has balls, okay,
Like me.
you too could try this science experiment.
Do I have
Please
to?
I applied it to the very bottom of my balls, and I went, "Boop, wow, and stopped. Because for anybody that has ever fondled ice before, it's pretty chilly.
Yeah, it's not too.
For
It's
anybody
not too
that
warm.
has ever like taken a cold hand and stuck it on your thigh, not that pleasant.
Yeah.
Me, who had a case of warm balls that night, I kept it there until the ice cube pretty much was halfway melted, if not all the way melted.
But didn't
I
it
had-
like go numb?
Yes. I had a serious case of wet balls. So then I come back, we sit down, Colby's back on the Discord and everything, and we're chatting, and then he just slips out, "I can't believe I just got you two to put ice on your balls."
He knew.
For 2 hours, this kid, who I was convinced was the dumbest person known to man, and had developed the most obviously teenage mentality for solving their bat wings, that they were just going to lose their stupid life to this ice cube forever,
Oh my
got us, fooled us,
Oh
bamboozled
my
us.
God.
We rubbed ice on our
In a corner
jewels.
Oh
In
my
this house
God.
of God.
But wait. Did it work?
No!
No, we had a case. We spent the next 15 minutes sitting in our chairs with wetter than wet balls and cold balls.
Well, that's what you get for being fucking stupid and putting
I-
ice on your ball.
I understand. However, this kid had no reason whatsoever to
what, your
convince
friend-
us for 2 hours.
Now, on the other hand, he was incredibly convincing because I was convinced he had developed the worst possible way. And so I had to hash out every detail. And so between Jake and I, we smashed it down to an exact process that he was inventing on the spot.
Like
Yeah, this all was just.
he said it was.
Came up with it on the spot, every detail.
Yeah. And I adore him for this because
That
this
is
this,
amazing.
this is definitely the most extreme one that he's gotten me on before. I'm a
Yeah.
very gullible person to begin with. But he's definitely gotten us before with some other crazier stories, which I'm not going to go into because this I think is impressive enough. So
This one's pretty good.
he's very convincing. He is so nonchalant about
Yeah.
it, and I hate him for it, but also
No, that is
props to you.
without a doubt. That is impressive.
Yeah. No, it was bad. It was bad. And he was just sitting there gently chuckling to himself afterwards, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even like mad that you got me, because if someone had done, if you come up with a stupid method and I'm the moron that just does it because I'm like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
he's not the one at fault for that.
very much so committed to the bit.
Yeah.
And so he got me, and I was just like, wow, first of all, I hate you, and also I want your skin. But,
Well done.
cheers.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like, I think he said later on, like, it was like 15 minutes in that he realized, oh, I can get these guys. Like, that
Now,
these
was
guys,
this like
I had the
was-
hook, line, and sinker in, and we were going all the way until they put ice on their balls.
Oh my
Now,
god.
was this like a prank he's pulled on other people and you guys just happen to be victims of it?
no. This is just, he's,
Or him on the spot?
Yeah.
yeah. Yep, so that was our
Oh my god,
Tuesday
that's
night.
so funny.
Holy
Yeah.
fuck. Oh my god. Well, that was a very fun story. I learned a lot about male anatomy, and male stupidity.
You learned
And-
about balls.
I did.
Balls!
I did.
Balls.
All right. Thank you, Colby.
Yeah. Thank you for your services. Get out of here.
Okay, goodbye.
Okay, bye.
Which, is he gone?
What's
Hey,
that?
Ginge, guess what?
Oh no.
You're gonna learn about kinks tonight.
Oh. Wonderful.
I need you to know that I am here as the backup secondary option here. Like, the hoe's gonna lead this part.
Oh, Jesus
But,
Christ.
So,
Hang on. Let me just say, for the record, that this is going to be a loaded as hell episode. Because I've already decided that I'm naming this episode Jake and Colby Ice Their Balls.
Oh, I was
What?
thinking Boy Scout and kinks.
No! That sounds so bad!
Because the rest
Or,
of
no,
them sound good.
no. The title of the episode is Boy Scouts Are Kinkier Than Most.
Okay,
No.
so time out. Before we go any further, for our listeners out there, in case you haven't listened
up
to
on it.
anything before, and this is the unfortunate episode that you picked to listen to before anyone else, Jake and I are the kinkiest amongst our friend group. It's kind of I don't want to say a tie, but it's pretty close about who's
close.
kinkier.
I want to say
The hoe is a lot more open about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
I'm
you
more closeted
because
on the
of your-
kinks, but
Oh, because of your openness, you're slightly at number one.
I also read a lot of things I shouldn't.
You're like,
I'm gonna-
you guys
time
are
out.
like 1A and 1B, basically.
So I read a lot, but I don't want to say I haven't put a lot into practice. There's some things that are just physically impossible to put into practice. So with that said, Ginge and I are the kinkiest of our friend group.
I
Ginge
am
is
not
probably
the
the
kinkiest
least
of your friend group.
Yes, Ginge is the most vanilla of our friend group.
Easily.
So we're probably going to scar him. Now, Jake, how do we want to build this episode? Do we kind of want to just like give a couple kinks and explain what they are? Do we want to talk about common ones? Do we want to like suggest them to Ginge? Which ones? Ginge, do you have questions about kinks? Let's start there.
I
yeah.
want the record to state that I was not prepared for this, so I have no questions.
Do you have no like in general? You have no questions about kinks at all? 0%. You don't want to.
We've talked a lot about this, and you know just how little I know about it.
All right. What are your thoughts on like 50 Shades of Grey?
I don't know anything about 50 Shades of Grey. Never
I
read
know
it.
everything.
Never seen.
I know you have.
So Jake and I went and saw all the 50
I
Shades
did- I
movies
did
on
know that.
Valentine's Day every year. Together.
It was the
It was the
weirdest
It
experience
was
of our
so
lives.
weird, but like it was a great bonding experience. Also, 50 Shades suck. The books suck even worse. BDSM is not 50 Shades. There's a difference.
I mean, you can go the 50 Shades route.
But it's so romanticized and boring.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get 50 Shades is boring. They're done. That really explains my sexual interest. 50 Shades is boring.
Like 50 Shades is boring, and that, to some people is seen as like a super kinky movie.
And then there's us.
To be fair, when the books first came out, fun fact, someone once tested the copy of 50 Shades of Grey at the New York Public Library for STDs, and turns out that book tested positive for a few different diseases. Like,
What the fuck were they doing to
Someone
the book?
boned a book when they had gonorrhea.
someone wanked. Yeah.
Oh, my, well,
my
actually,
God.
I don't want to know what my phone has. I mean, I don't have STDs. I've never had an STD, but I don't want to
Have
know.
you
if
ever
my-
had an STD test?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
I constantly, literally, that makes me sound
Why
like a whore.
constantly?
Because
You
I
haven't gotten
I
boned
have
since
urinary
January.
tract problems. They automatically test for STDs.
Yeah, you test your urine. It's going
Yeah.
to
They
urine is the
also
most
test
common.
to make sure I'm not pregnant. I know for a fact I'm not pregnant.
Hey.
They test every time. Anyways, going back. Anyway, so Jake and I are both kinky, but we're different kinds of kinky. Jake is like, I don't want to say the BDSM kind of kinky, but more the traditional kind of kinky, if that makes sense. And Jake, do you agree you're more the traditional type of kinky?
Yeah, like, my partner, we discuss things because communication is very key for any
Yes.
sort of thing whatsoever. So we will talk about things, and if it's something that we're both kind of into or curious about trying, then we will. And if it works out in the mood at the time, then sure, we will try it. Other times, if we're like, okay, we're just gonna have a vanilla night, it has a vanilla night. It's possible, and you got to keep, the fun in it.
And then there's me,
Who is
fucked in the
specific-
head.
Yes.
So I'm going to give a disclaimer. My partner and I are long distance, so it's a little hard to put some of these kinkier ideas into practice. Even if they were here, it'd still be harder because, like, if you listen to the very first episode, I admitted I like hentai and tentacles.
She still does.
And that hasn't changed in the 8 weeks since then.
Do I personally ever want to get fucked by a tentacle? No. Do I read a lot about tentacles?
Yes.
I plead the fifth. So I would say that my kind of kinky is the fucked in the head kind of kinky. It's the kind no one admits, except me, because I don't care.
Because the hoe's a weirdo.
I am a weirdo.
But she doesn't have a kink shame, though.
I don't kink shame. That's Colby's one and only kink besides his foot fetish that he's going to roast me for after this.
He's gonna kill you for saying that. For the record, everyone, Colby does not have a foot fetish. The only
He's
reason
just-
we say this is because he sucked the host toe one time.
And then I also painted my toe for his birthday once, and he gave it a little smush, and then I pushed it into his mouth.
And like,
like,
the
yeah,
nail
that's
polish
what
was
it
still
is.
like wet.
No,
No,
I wouldn't
okay.
push wet nail polish into his mouth.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not trying
Said
to
he
kill
painted
him.
your nail, and then
Yeah, so I took my big toe, I painted it red, I let it dry, he gave it a little smooch, and then I immediately shoved it in his mouth. But anyways, Colby's only other kink besides foot fetish is kink shaming. And that's why
True.
Colby and I could never sleep together. That's the only reason, not because we may or may not be related, but who's to say?
that's a story for another time.
Exactly. So yeah, Jake, I don't know how comfortable you are with sharing your own kinks. I personally have no shame because mine are not physically
I
possible.
will let you take the lead on this.
All right, so let's start. Oh God, I really hope nobody fuck it. I read a lot about the Omegaverse, which if you've never heard about the Omegaverse, please research. I don't feel like educating you. It's very strange. It's very uncomfortable to talk about, but I'm also just fascinated by it.
Ginge, have you heard of the Omegaverse?
Oh, I gave it a
She's
rundown.
giving me the rundown.
Oh,
of
yeah.
it.
Don't you worry.
That was a fun Tuesday morning at work.
Yeah,
day.
it was at work, and it was like multiple very lengthy
We
paragraphs.
both were
about, like,
bored, and I don't know how we even got on this conversation, but then I just kind of went.
I think I just wanted to scar you. I was feeling like abusive, and
Yeah.
just was like, "Let me ruin Ginger's day."
Congrats, you succeeded.
So I'm just going to preface. It's kind of like wolf dynamics, which is very strange to talk about. Also, tentacles. Somewhat. Also, I don't actually read about like self-insert porn. I don't like the idea of any of this happening to me. I don't want any of this to happen to me, but I enjoy reading about it, if that makes any sense.
I guess that makes it a little
Yeah,
better.
stay the fuck away from me with your fucking wolves and your tentacle shit. I don't want that. Stay the
Wolves?
fuck away.
Yeah, she does not like
Being touched.
to be knotted.
So, well, no. No. For someone who speaks like a whore, I'm actually very much a prude,
Very much.
which is a very weird concept. Hoe is an ironic name for me. I've also read about, I'm like sitting here, I'm blanking on everything. Oh, like alien sex, egg laying, monster fucking.
Okay.
I accidentally once read about cannibalism, but that was because it wasn't tagged, and I immediately stopped reading, and I was like, what the
Like,
fuck is this? This is not
sexual
sex.
cannibalism?
Yeah, it was very strange. I
That's
immediately,
a thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was so fucking weird. I immediately
Someone could just go like, I have to have a
Yes.
finger now and get off to that?
they were doing the nose, but yeah. Yeah, that's where I was like,
Got your
fuck
nose.
this.
I hate
It takes.
that.
I got your nose for a
I
whole
was
different
reading
review.
it. I was 33 chapters into a 40 chapter story, and they just bit off someone's nose and moaned, and I was like, no, we're done. We're
Now,
done.
was it the person who got their nose bit off or the person
No.
who did the biting?
No, it was the person who ate the nose.
That's worse!
I know! I didn't. It wasn't tagged. So,
I can see.
fan
Okay,
fiction.
I can somewhat see, in my limited knowledge of kinks, I can somewhat see getting your nose bitten off because pain is a stimulant. For some
bitten
people.
off? No.
Hurts, but like,
Nibbled. Sure, if you're
yeah,
fucking
okay, but
weird.
you know what I mean. There's a pathway to get there, but chewing
There's a
on
pathway to
someone's
cannibalism?
nose. No, there's a pathway to getting your nose bitten off, is what I'm saying. Like
Cannibalism.
you understand what I'm saying. But to be the one biting it off is Jesus.
No. So I read a lot of shit that I shouldn't. But I do have one kink that unfortunately does translate into real life. And no, it is not a daddy kink. Been there, done that, hate that. Mommy kink, been there, done that, hate that.
At Aaron.
Actually, have I been there? No, I've been there in teasing, but not actually.
Okay.
Anyway,
The one and only kink that does transfer to real life is religious trauma.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's because you went to a Catholic school.
It's because I was raised in the Catholic Church and hated the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
And if you suffer a trauma, one of two things happen. You either get a fear or you get a kink. And like I said, I only have 3 fears. It's birds, spiders, and dinosaurs. So the
Yep.
rest of this fucking trauma,
Straight to her vagina.
I'm
Definitely.
kinky.
okay. One weird question for both of you two.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
I have read on the internet, and I want to know if you believe in this. Kinks are hereditary.
I really hope not.
I hope to God not.
I really hope not. 'cause
However,
my
it
parents are
would
into
make
some weird shit.
I was also just gonna say it would make sense.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not a question I want an answer to. It's not a question I want to think about either. But
Yeah,
if I had to believe that it was true, I can't say
I would argue
No.
it's way worse to imagine that it's true for you guys than it is for me. Like, if it was true for me, I'd be like,
Because you're
Okay.
not kinky?
exactly.
Oh shoot, my parents are vanilla.
Oh
Darn.
no, my parents are vanilla. Oh well.
or they're not, but it passed on. It skipped you and went to.
It skipped a generation.
So we're saying my grandparents were vanilla?
No, we're saying
or-
your kids are going to be kinky.
Oh shit.
Or it just skipped you and then maybe went to a sibling instead.
Oh no, don't say that.
Oh, don't say
It's
that.
possible.
Time
that
out,
to it,
time out.
too.
If it is hereditary, my parents are 1, fucked in the head. I mean, they are, but they aren't, but they are. And then 2, my sibling is fucked in the head. My kids.
And then I would also argue that Jake just suggested that my sibling is also fucked in the head, which...
No, he suggested they may or may not be kinky.
Okay, but here's the thing. My sibling, who...
I love how we're pausing before every time.
Well, it's like, I don't want to just announce...
It's better not thinking about it, and like we really should just stop this conversation before we dig ourselves
I
a
just
hole.
want to say that my sister watches this podcast, or she listens to it, and I would not be surprised if after this she gets a mean message from Jake basically telling him to go to hell.
So, to which I apologize.
Jake,
But-
did this question stem from that Vine where it was like, "Are you into midget porn?" You're into fucking midget porn.
I am not. I don't think my parents are either, and I don't think either of my siblings are either, but
I hope my parents aren't into tentacles and wolves. That would be a very weird conversation to have. I also
they
hope
could have a mommy daddy
nobody.
thing.
I hope no parental figure of mine ever finds this podcast, like my partner's parents included. If they find this, I'm dead. I'm done. I'm throwing myself out a window.
Here's the thing, though. Don't your partner's parents also know that you're kinky? Because I seem to recall...
We're done. We're done. We're done. We're done.
Damn it, I wanted to tell that story.
Fucking fine. Go for it. I mean, if they find this podcast,
All
they
right.
already heard this conversation.
Well, yeah, no, it's not like they don't know about this.
I know.
There was one time the hoe just texted us and said that her and her partner were on FaceTime talking about their kinks and just stuff that they enjoyed, and then...
We were having an open conversation about
Yeah.
our sexual relationship.
Good conversations to have.
Exactly.
with your
Conversation
partner.
is key when it comes to
a
sex.
healthy conversation to have.
Yes, it was a weird but healthy conversation.
Not the conversation you'd want to have, though, in front of a nanny cam that your partner's parents are watching you and listening to you through, though, right?
So I was house sitting for my partner's parents while they were away on a trip, and they have a motion activated nanny cam, and the dog walked by the video camera, and they like to go, "Oh my god, look at our dog, we miss her so much." But there's also a microphone. And so this dog was walking back and forth because I was playing fetch with it in their living room. My partner, the dog, and we had this conversation about our sexual health, and we got a nice text that says, "Hey, just a reminder, the dog camera does have a microphone." And it was highly uncomfortable because I don't want them to know. Like, don't get me wrong, I love them like family.
News for you, they know now.
They know.
They know some weird things, but if we just glossed over it, we just ignored that it ever happened.
All right, so it's like you just look at your phone. All right, do not disturb, and back to it.
Weird question for the both of you. Have your parents ever accidentally either walked in on you, doing the deed or doing the deed with your hand?
No,
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
I've gotten lucky. I have not been walked in on. I have gotten walked in on by my roommate freshman year.
I've also walked in on your roommate freshman
I
year.
forgot about that.
It was very uncomfy.
My freshman year roommate walked in on me in the middle of the deed with my current
You
partner,
were in
and
somewhere.
he just sat. He just
Did he
sat.
not realize it?
The kid just sat down in his chair at his desk.
You were balls deep.
Balls deep, and it took him 15 seconds. Ding. Oh shit! I'm sorry, and he just walks out. You can't do anything. You can't make any weird sudden movements
Now,
because
in that
then you
case,
just
though, was it obvious, or was your partner Jake just kind of under the blanket, and you were just just your head out of the blanket? So if you looked over there, you'd have been man, Jake gained 100 pounds yesterday.
I don't remember how it was. I remember that we were both under the blanket, but our heads were sticking out because it gets super hot and gross if you're both underneath the blanket. But it definitely looked like there was one person on top of another person.
Oh, so it was pretty obvious what was happening.
Yeah.
And he was just oh, yep, there's Jake.
My
Whoa!
my mother, strictly only my mother, thank God, has ever walked in on me wanking, and I was like, I was still like just figuring out what wanking was,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize it was like a private thing to do. If that makes any
Oh
sense. So like when I heard her coming
no!
towards me, I was just like,
Okay.
okay, she's not gonna know what's going on. Like she doesn't know what this is. Like this is totally like not a normal thing. Like people don't know what this is. And she walks in and she's just like, "Oh, sorry," closes the door. And then I had to like look up. I went on like a rabbit hole and I was like, "Oh, so this is a very normal thing. She knows exactly what I was doing and this is hella embarrassing." Um,
Can I ask how
Yeah.
old you were when this happened?
So I learned about.
14.
Do we want me to tell the story about how I learned about sex? Because I learned about.
I would say wait. Let's save that for another episode. We're
Okay.
getting close to an hour here.
Okay, well, I learned about sex at a pretty late age and in a very unconventional way. And so I learned about winking at a very late age in a very unconventional way.
Definitely was not later than me. Though I'll definitely say that.
I think I was probably like almost 18 years old when I figured out what wink. Yeah, I.
Okay, then we're pretty close then, because I want to say mine was a few months before I think the first time I actually
Oh,
did
so
the
now
deed
I'm the,
with my hand
the weirdo. Okay.
was when I want to say it was a couple months before my 18th birthday.
Yeah, I think I was like either the month before or just at my 18th birthday. I figured out
So
what
it was. So
and
honestly, since I'm exactly 3 months older than you, so you're saying it was probably basically in between our birthdays.
No, well, yeah, actually, it was.
Yeah.
It was in between our 18th birthdays.
Yeah.
But it was. I don't even remember how. I think I woke up and I was like having a wet dream, which is like women don't have that. You just kind of wake up horny, but I didn't understand what horny was.
Yeah.
Um, and so I woke up horny and I did what felt natural. And then I was like, oh yeah, nobody else does this because this is just a weird thing
This
that
is
I
just
do.
a me thing right now.
This is just, I'm like, nobody knows what this is because nobody talks about it because I'm 18 years old in a very like conservative high school and nobody talks about masturbation in health class. Like nobody talks about
That's
it.
not something people bring up in health classes. Like, do you have
And
the
it's
sex
totally
talk in health
normal.
classes? Yeah, they
Like
yeah.
they talk about sex and they talk about like hand jobs.
They talk
and
about
blowjobs, but they
sex,
don't talk
though.
about like
They talk.
specific-
They don't even talk about. They talk about sex in the most clinical way possible.
Oh, not
Like
at my
for me,
school.
I didn't learn about any other. I didn't learn about sex itself. They basically just gave us the anatomical thing of like, this is how a baby is formed. If a man's penis, does the deed inside of a woman's vagina.
You can say ejaculate. You can say ejaculate.
I know, but
Does
does
the deed in a woman's
It's
vagina.
it's better than cummies.
Oh.
Anyways, hey Jake, how old were you when you first whacked off? Because I heard you just mumble into the camera. Guess I'm the weirdo here. So now I'm interested.
I don't know what the normal age is for like female masturbation.
I don't know what the
discovery.
normal age is at all because I've heard stories people
I've
doing
heard
it when they're
boys
like
at 12 years old just
That's-
you
that's
know,
what I'm saying, like-
12, 13 was my
Okay.
when I
I've
did.
heard stories of people when they're like 10 to 13 years old do it, and I'm sitting here like, Jesus, I was a senior in high school.
Same. So Ginge and
Yeah.
I prudes.
Yeah,
Ironic
I mean,
prudes.
yeah. We're not saying
And Jake's
anything
over
we don't
here
know
like,
here.
these poor people. They didn't know about fucking.
Jesus, oh, you've come a long way.
I think that's one
In
of
a
the
lot of
reasons-
ways.
I think that's one of the. I think that's one of the reasons I'm so open when it comes to like sexual health and like having a healthy relationship when it comes to like sexual exploration because I did have such a blunt introduction to what sex was, how I learned about like what I like as sex or sexual intimacy, that I think it's just if we're more open about it, it's a lot healthier for a lot of more people to
Yeah.
kind of understand and not have a blunt, not that blunt is unhealthy, but have a tainted introduction to what sexual intimacy is.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
why
I agree.
I like being open and I like educating people,
Yeah.
even if it's a bit uncomfortable and I take it a step too far, talking about, tentacles up the ass and you turn into a donut and it comes out your mouth. But like, it's
Okay.
So continuing on, this definitely of the three of us will be a multiple part series.
Yeah, we're gonna need a part 2 of this
podcast
because
there's a lot more to dive into, and
yeah.
I don't know how much you want to circle the rabbit hole.
We
without really
definitely
diving
in the
but,
future we definitely will have to go over the story of how we all learned about sex as well because
yeah, that's an interesting topic. But overall, if you're going to take anything from this episode, just understand that conversation with your partner is key. It's okay to be curious. It's okay to explore as long as you're not
as long as
getting
it's
hurt.
consensual. Yeah,
It's consensual and it's a safe environment. And it's okay to, have weird interests in weird things that turn you on, because if it isn't, then I'm fucked.
Yeah. Also, don't ice your balls.
Don't ice your balls. Please don't ice your balls. Or unless you're into that. If that's your thing, ice your balls. Like,
I mean, it's possible. It can do it for people.
We're not gonna kink shame. Colby's gonna kink shame.
Colby will kink shame, but that's
We're
just
not gonna
because
kink
it's
shame.
his thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for a very invasive and open episode.
That was certainly an episode. You know how after last episode, that it was just the three of us, and we got real about, like, our struggles with, like, anxiety and stuff. Colby sends to the group chat of the five of us and says, Jake, the Ginge, and the Ho are never allowed to do a podcast, just the three of them. And then we managed to do that.
We did it
and
again.
made it worse.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of the point of this podcast. It's not a good podcast.
Oh, no, it's
terrible
a
people.
hellfire. I would argue I'm not as terrible, just based on the events of tonight.
Incorrect. You're terrible in different ways. It just
Yep.
hasn't shown.
Yep. We will get that out of you eventually. It's gonna take a few episodes and maybe a lot more drinks, but like, it'll happen.
All right, fair enough.
It'll happen naturally. But remember, we could be drinking.
We are drinking.
Like and
We
subscribe.
are drinking.
I've been Jake.
Subscribe, follow
I'm
us
Ray.
on...
I'm the Ho. I'm Ray. Who
I'm
the
Ginger
fuck is Ray?
Wald. Follow us
And,
on Instagram and
Twitter?
TikTok.
Do we have a Twitter?
No, we don't have a Twitter.
Okay,
Yeah,
don't
I
follow
can
us on
make a
Twitter. We're not
but-
there.
No, don't make a Twitter. We don't make
Yeah,
that.
We don't
it's
need to
just
make a
at
Twitter.
We
I'll
could
just
be
tweet
drinking.
random
We
shit.
haven't posted stuff in a while, but that's just because I'm lazy and I'm the only one who video edits. So, in that
all right.
case,
Thank you,
thanks
everyone.
everyone for watching.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to us talk about kinks. Have a great night.
There will be a part 2.
Go whack off.